Would you all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Yes. Madam Mayor?
Here.
Mr. Powers?
Here.
Ms. Percival?
Here.
Mr. Sidlaw?
Here.
Mr. Swigert?
Here.
Mr. Russo?
Here.
Mr. Roto?
Here.
Mr. Bull?
Here.
Madam President?
Here.
Moha? Here. Daniel? And Brianna?
Here.
And not in attendance is Councilman Costello.
Okay, thank you very much. Has everybody had, yes?
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to include an immediate reorganization of council.
All right, I mean, I guess we can do that under new business once it happens.
I'm sorry?
I think we could do that under new business when it comes time to.
Borough Code states that it can be done at any time, and I felt it was best to do it at the beginning of the meeting.
I mean, it wasn't on the agenda.
That's why I'm making a motion to amend the agenda to include a reorganization.
Okay, any questions about the motion? Do we have-
Second.
I would ask for a roll call, please.
Did someone second it?
She's not.
Rob seconded it? Okay, the motion is whether or not to add reorganization to the agenda. Roll call vote, please.
All right. Madam President?
No?
Mr. Swigert?
No.
Mr. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Bull?
Yes.
Ms. Percival?
Yes.
I'm sorry. And who done this? Oh, and Mr. Costigan isn't here.
Mr. Sidlow.
And Mr. Sidlow.
No.
Okay, we have a tie.
Mayor? Yes.
Here. Yes. Okay, so motion passed to add item to the agenda.
And we're adding it now.
I would like to add it now to the agenda, please, since the motion passed.
Okay.
And go
where are
into
we putting it
I
on?
mean, I would put it under new business.
I'm sorry?
I would put it under new business.
Mr. Musso, I'm asking for a reorganization at the beginning of the meeting.
Again,
It's not on the
it's not
agenda.
on the agenda, so it'll be added under new business. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Thank you.
Okay. The minutes, has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
And so this is for both the November and the CDBG special meeting minutes.
We do one at a time.
One at a time, all right, we'll do the minutes from the November meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And for the, do we need a motion again?
Yeah, we need a new motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes for the CDBG special meeting minutes.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Is there any correspondence?
Yes, I actually have several. From Brookhaven Borough. Dear Ms. Stamus, at our December 5th, 2022 council meeting, council meeting, Borough Council agreed to assist you with the 2022-2023 road salt. It is understood that you will purchase road salt from Brookhaven. We look forward to working together, so we will continue to work with Brookhaven on road salt. And then I have our tax report for the month. It's good evening from the tax collector. The treasurer has received a total of $135.80. I apologize. He's received $1,135,881.96 to date. There was $2,764.40 in revenue deposited from December 15th, 2022 to December 10th, 2022. Ed Fisher. Then I received a correspondence from RF. It says, for Mr. Costigan, Ms. Guy, and Mr. Sidlow, please be advised this firm represents Parkside Borough employee Dominic Capabianco. Mr. Capabianco has reason to believe that you have repeatedly and publicly made false and defamatory statements against him concerning his reimbursement for cleaning services he purchased on behalf of the borough during COVID-19 emergencies. These false statements include accusing Mr. Capabianco of stealing taxpayer money, alluding to how laws were broken here, referring to Mr. Capabianco's council-approved reimbursement to a plea of blatant corruption. Indeed, Mr. Costigan stated in a reply to a council meeting video posted on Parkside Borough Community Facebook page, I was expressing my outrage that a certain and current elected official finds it acceptable to steal taxpayer money and claim to be donating their services to the borough. Mr. Costigan also made another post calling Mr. Capabianco's reimbursement corruption at its finest, and further stated that it would be made sure that this kind of blatant corruption would never happen again. These statements are false and defamatory. You have no doubt aware in July 2022, the council voted on and approved Mr. Capabianco's reimbursement based on the invoices and receipts he submitted. This time of council members to question those invoices and disagrees with the former council's decision to approve Mr. Capabianco's request for reimbursement does not change the outcome that Mr. Capabianco's request for reimbursement was promptly approved by council in July 2021. The act by the council establishment was properly approved by council. The payment was made to Mr. Capabianco was proper and was not stealing taxpayer money. He did not break any laws and was not corrupt by any kind. We are hereby placed on public in your individual and personal capacities with the information you publicize and continue to publish against Mr. Capabianco is false and misleading. You are each hereby notified that these statements and publications, according to Mr. Capabianco's reimbursements, are false, and that any further statements will be deemed to be made as reckless and a disregard for the truth. According, each of you are hereby to cease and desist all efforts to harass or defame the character or reputation of Mr. Capabianco. The law firm of RF Law Firm. That's all I have.
Yeah, Madam President, we have received this lawyer and we're in the process of writing a response. Rest assured that nothing anybody said has been false or defamatory. So there's something called the Pennsylvania Public Ethics Act, and it says that if anybody's going to make money from something that they're on the body of, right? School board, borough council, township council, that if something's before the body, that they will get what's called pecuniary benefit. They will get money from it. They have to do two things. They have to let everybody know that something on the agenda is going to put money in their pocket. And two, then they have to abstain from that vote. So the concern and the response to Mr. Capabianco's lawyer is, when he says that look, this was decided way back in July, and once the council voted on it, that was the time to ask questions. That's what the Ethics Act is meant to address. So in the Ethics Act, Mr. Capobianco, who was on council, I believe at the time of the vote, I mean, he was at the point, he should have alerted everybody at the time and said, hey, everyone, just so you know, this agenda item that we're voting on, this is my business, right? Capo's cleaning service, that's my business. This will make me money. And then he should have not voted on it. And the problem is he did neither of those things. And if you look at the invoices, they talk about services. So it was about, I think, $8,000 for his services. And he didn't identify it and he voted on it. So both of those things are violations of the Ethics Act. And I will certainly let his attorney know that. And so the Ethics Act is there for a reason. Certainly people are allowed to talk about the Ethics Act. Certainly they're allowed to talk about public officials' behavior around the Ethics Act. And so there's nothing defamatory or false about that.
Thank you very much. On to the next item, Mayor's report. Mayor Roman.
Thank you, Madam President. Crimes reported in November were 4. One was a robbery, one was burglary, one was theft, one was an assault. Calls for service, 60. Most prevalent, medical emergencies, there were 6. Other assist from other agencies were 13. Animal complaint 4. None for an accident. Traffic detail was 20. Motor vehicle stops were 9. Traffic citations 2, and warnings were 2.
You have a couple more items on the agenda here.
Yes. Rob, you want to take over the civil?
Yeah, we have to adopt the rules and regulations for the Civil Service Commission. I would like to go ahead and make that motion to adopt the resolutions for the Civil Service Commission. The resolution for adoption reads, the foregoing rules and regulations, which are in accordance with the powers granted by the Civil Service of the Borough Code, enacted by the General Assembly of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and in accordance with the authority granted by the Borough Council of the Borough of Parkside, Pennsylvania, adopted by the Civil Service Commission of the Budget of the Borough of Parkside, Pennsylvania, on December 12, 2022. So, like in a second on that?
I second that.
Any questions?
Is there a copy of that in the room?
Doesn't everybody have one?
Oh, wasn't it a long list of,
Yes. I'm pretty sure everybody got it.
wasn't it a 60-some page document? Is that here? Oh, that's it, okay.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
Chief, we need to talk about that.
I can just mention that the Civil Service Commission met on the 12th. They appointed a chairperson, a vice chairperson, and a secretary. They voted to adopt the rules. They also approved an advertisement to go in the paper once council adopted the rules and regulations. So they're ready to move forward through the hiring process, which will take probably the better part of another 2 months or so to get through it all.
Thank you.
So do we have to do the oath of office? Is that? It's on the agenda.
Yeah. I forgot my room, I'm sorry. So, I do have it, I just forgot to put it on. You have a Bible?
Yeah, it's in the cabinet.
New chairs. Let's see, Chris Cross in. Verizon sold it off.
And that's Leo and Matt up here. Want to hold the Bible? Does anybody want to come up and hold the Bible for us? Daniel, come here. Put your left hand on the right hand. Repeat after me. I, and then state your name.
I, Matt Saunders,
Do solemnly swear that I will support,
that I solemnly swear that I will support,
obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States,
obey,
defend the
defend
Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the laws of Pennsylvania, and the ordinances and regulations of Parkside Borough,
the laws of Pennsylvania and the ordinances of
and regulations.
resolutions of Parkside.
Borough Parkside.
I will perform my duties
I will perform my
of the
duties
Civil Service Commission
Of the
in
Civil
the Civil
Service
Service
Commission
Commission,
in the Borough of Parkside with fidelity.
in the
Borough Parkside with fidelity.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is called to citizens for agenda-related items only.
Andrew Slowick, 142 East Rollin Road. What does it mean by doing a reorganization? I don't understand it, and I'd like to know as a civics person. What does it mean? Somebody explain it to
You
me.
brought it up.
Reorganization is something that's permitted in the borough code at any time, month to month. It means that the officials of the borough committees and professional staff can be reorganized and reappointed.
Okay, so that means we're going to get people reappointed to different departments?
It's a possibility when anyone decides to reorganize and council agrees as a whole. The president, vice president can change, professional staff can change, committees can change.
And are they going to change? That's my only other question. When will they change?
It's, Mr. Musso has advised that it's for, under new business.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Judy Saunders, 62 East Cheltenham Road. To piggyback off the reorg meeting, to me, and this is just a comment, I'm not going to ask for anybody to respond to it, but it seems entirely problematic that this decision to reorganize was done when we are not a full council. When one of the people who has devoted a full year to this borough unceasingly, where he has worked to sew us back together, has not been here for personal reasons, that this move is made. And I am thoroughly disgusted that this borough continues to be a pawn, like a mouse to a cat in a political game. We are making moves here. We are doing well. People are moving together. And you take the opportunity when someone can't be here for personal reasons to move your political agenda forward with the tacit approval of the mayor. It's not right. I'm sorry. In keeping with Christ-like Christmas, where we just had a Bible on display, this is disgusting.
Sarah Haynes, 18 Beechwood. So I'm just concerned as to why we can't reorganize at the beginning of the meeting and have to wait to new business. When Anna Guy, we had your reorganization, we didn't have to wait to the end of the meeting, for one. I'm also concerned that anytime there's a question, you're looking at Peter. And then this question, all of a sudden you're looking at Shirley. And I'm also concerned because, like, you know, Jude, you cared so much about Michael Costigan being here, but you just smashed him on Facebook, so.
Right, and talk to him personally. So guess what, girlfriend? You don't know who's talking to who. I'm sorry. I'm super sorry about this.
You had
But what Michael went through and what he talked to me about personally are two totally different things.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm done. This is
I'm praying
ridiculous.
for
This is
Michael,
a
and
joke.
he's going through a lot, and this whole
Yeah, and you'll
council's putting a
still
lot of
use it for
pressure
your
on him for
political
no
gain.
reason.
Fuck it.
And,
Oh, God.
you know, like, there, in his
Oh,
post on Facebook, there's one person who influenced him through this negatively, and he calls that person out. And it's obviously Anna Guy. See, there's a reason why Jude can't sit through this.
Why is it obviously?
This ain't good.
Because there's just like a lot of darkness in you.
Where's the cops?
And Michael came in here wanting to help this community. And he had a lot of joy, and he was gonna do a lot for this community. And I feel like there's certain people in here that use their agenda to drag him down.
Lisa Cottrell, 252 East Avon Road. And to piggyback on this decision, I think that as what Ms. Saunders said, and also Andrew pointing out that why is this happening? There is, especially with a missing council person, to move ahead and to do so without him being here seems very wrong to the people who elected him and who elected all of you. And for the mayor to be a de facto just proponent of such a move when seems just, again, another slap in the face to everybody who voted. Mr. Costigan, I was on rec committee this year. I worked with people like Sarah and other people who all seem to want to do good things. And people put in a lot of hours. The person who probably put in the most hours for rec committee was Ms. Judith Saunders. And people are treating her like absolute shite and treating Ms. Guy like absolute shite. And it's wrong. And the move was an extremely personable move. Thank you, Shirley, for doing that. And I should have known something was up when people were here that don't normally come to meetings.
I would like
so
to
thank
address
you.
that comment.
Of course.
And
Speak
Mrs.
away.
Miss Sarah was right. When Miss Anna took over, we did the reorganization at the beginning, not at the end. Many of us feel that what the public does not know is the lack of communication, the lack of organization, the lack of deadlines being missed. It's not a personal thing. And I will put this out there, Mr. Costigan and I, Mr. Powers, several other members talked about this 10 days, 2 weeks ago. So it's not something that Mr. Costigan, when he comes back, is going to be totally shocked. And it is not a political thing. It's the end of the year. We've gone through missed deadlines, checks that have not been sent out, communications. The last incident was the meeting with Upland Borough Police. Mrs. Guy could not even respond and say thank you for our efforts to the members that attended Upland Borough's meeting. So, Miss Lisa, that's your answer. And if Miss Saunders was here, I would direct that to her also. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
And nor do people who say that things that people have said about other people when they don't know the whole story.
I think if you've heard me through this year, Ms. Anna said I was beating the transparency horse to death. Because I've brought it up so many times that there is no transparency.
Where's the transparency in
There is-
Mr. Capabianco's receipts?
There is
none, and you
There
approved
is no communication, and you do not know what's been going on in the last year or the last 7 months.
Michelle Scriback. I've been coming to these meetings prior to most of you sitting right here today. And all I've been hearing is communication errors. And as a council as a whole, I know, and I've learned this myself with being on committees throughout organizations I've been involved in, that it goes back to the communication. Reorganization was probably called for something that's just not clicking, not political gain, just what is happening as a whole, as a council that's not happening. Does it go back to somebody not answering emails? I don't know, because I know that happens in most organizations. When it does happen, it does get called to action to, we need to reorganize and get somebody into play that's gonna, communicate this to everybody. I've heard of deadlines being missed because of maybe emails not being read. And some of the deadlines that were missed, actually one in particular from what I think I recall in one of the meetings, was missed money for the borough.
Did we miss it?
Was it missed?
Did we miss it?
It wasn't missed deadline, but we did not miss.
You didn't miss it, but it was
They
past the
accepted
deadline. They accepted it.
They still accepted it.
So we got lucky that it was accepted. I think that if maybe we had somebody to, instead of pushing these emails over and over again, read the emails. I mean, maybe we wouldn't have this issue. And I'm tired of hearing it's all because of politics. It's not. You guys are all representing, everybody here is representing our town, our borough. Again, I don't know how many times we said we have to get it together. That was the reason why I stood up for the Civil Service Commission. Not because I have nothing else to do, because I want to be here for my town and my borough to help out and get the best of the best here representing us, just like we as voters have done for you guys in hopes that we, have that. But again, it's not happening if you got to reorganize. What is missing? Communication, I'll tell you that right now. That's what's missing. Somebody's not reading emails, somebody's not responding. Why? I don't know why people are not responding to others, but I'm guessing. I'm just tired of it. Get it together.
Nicole Boyers, 108 East Chelton. Even in a changing of an administration, residents expect business to keep moving here in our borough. We have a reasonable expectation of timeliness, on time, not asking a favor under the wire to get an application for a grant in. We have a reasonable expectation of transparency, of trust, that our safety comes first, that our money is used wisely, and in recession, that money is used frugally as the prices of gas, groceries, electric, rent, all our household goods rise. The last thing we want to hear is more spending, increase in taxes, being over budget, and grant money not being applied for. Since the new administration has took over, the borough has become disorganized, the community more divided, not more unified as was promised. Grant applications for free money have not been turned in timely, if at all. The firehouse and the police were threatened, putting our safety at risk when other boroughs were consulted for permanent coverage or right to knows that could be done by the secretary of the borough or done by the solicitor at a much higher cost. Little things like the borough newsletter going door-to-door delivery stopped, or leaf pickup didn't even happen. Currently, it's obvious even the current administration knows where the real wisdom and leadership is as they consult Ms. Percival for answers on a regular basis. When the other administration under Miss Percival's leadership was president, we didn't have these problems. Things were handled. The borough had a year-end surplus because of wise budgeting and thrift spending. Council meetings were organized. Robert's rules followed to a T, run like a tight ship with professionalism, not the circus that this has turned into. With inflation as bad as it is and a recession coming hard mid-2023, we are in dire need of real leadership and wisdom that only years of experience can provide. We need to see beyond the party division and the selfish need to hold on to power and do what's best to rescue the sinking ship that is our borough.
The borough is far from being a sinking ship. That is a way over dramatic description of nothing. Okay.
Mr. Powers, could you address the leaves, why the leaves haven't been picked up?
I was going to address that in the public works report, but if you want me to do it now, I can.
Just because it was brought up and.
Okay, the dump truck has been out since October, and it's coming back tomorrow. So we can't pick up the leaves without a dump truck and a leaf box. The goal is to assess the leaf on the street, I guess sometime after this storm, and pick up the leaves accordingly.
Okay, excellent.
So any leaves that are right to the curb, which I went down rolling today, and there's quite a bit of leaves on the curb, we're gonna pick them up.
Okay.
The truck will be back tomorrow.
Sure.
And
Thank
then we have to go to Brookhaven, put the leaf box on, and get the leaf machine up and running, and we'll be on the street.
Excellent.
So,
I know Tamika said a lot of people have been asking as well. All right. For my president's report, I wrote down a few things. I just wanted to talk about 2022 and what has been accomplished in that time. To begin with, the mayor held, I believe, 3 cleanup events. Is that correct, Mayor?
I'm not sure. I think I held a couple more than that, but some had to be postponed.
And the Public Safety Committee, they faced the shortage of part-time officers, and during the year, they hired a full-time officer, and we worked with Brookhaven to get our coverage throughout the year. And we established the Civil Service Commission so that we can hire 2 more full-time officers. The Ordinance Committee has held public meetings to review and update ordinances throughout the year. The Communication Committee has produced 7 issues of the newsletter. And I'm sure you've all seen the new website, and there's a greater social media presence. And with Tamika's help, all the available minutes dating back to 2005 have been posted to the website, and agendas have been available online prior to the meetings. And now the meetings are being live streamed. The Recreation Committee, it's a long list. We had 2 free outdoor movie nights with refreshments. They played Legos in here. We had our Community Day, which was, I think, a great success. And the Halloween walk was attended, I think, by a couple hundred people at least. We had the holiday party, and we collaborated with Brookhaven and the Middletown Library for some of our recreation activities. The Trash and Recycling Committee, we had a successful electronics recycling event and shredding event. And I'd like to take this time before Christmas here to thank all of the community members who have volunteered in the recreation, communication, and ordinance committees. Your time and energy has been truly appreciated. Tamika, I'd like to thank you for stepping into the secretary position and learning as fast as you could so the office could function as well as it did. And I have a little something for you later. And I'd like to thank the chief for all the work that he did during the time that we've had to transition from the part-time to full-time. And I also would like to thank the junior council members. You're our future and you make Parkside proud. And I have a little something for you guys too, I'll give you later. And that is all I have. Thank you very much. And Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. On to finance report, Mr. Bull.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Madam President. The treasurer's report to be read. All bank accounts have been reconciled through November 30th, 2022, except for the TD Bank escrow account and Sharon Bank escrow account, which are for Green Tree. And I don't remember what the other one's for, but they're escrow accounts, so there's not much action that takes place in that. We do not have bank statements for those accounts. We are including the bank reconciliation and statements for all reconciled funds for council's approval. The general fund for the month of November, $41,732.60 was deposited into the TD Bank account, and expenses of $4,370.44 were paid. During this period, $19,248.64 of deposits were received into the Sharon Bank General Fund, and $104,602.30 of expenses were paid, including payroll of $34,725.58. Below are the bank balances per the bank statements, 11/30/2022. The borough will not be requesting a TAN note this year, and that is the report to Borough Parkside from Brinker Simpson. I would like to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to continue on with, I'd like to make a motion to accept ordinance. Sorry, they got a little bit sideways here.
They all look alike.
I'd like to make a motion to accept ordinance 583, which establishes the trash fee at $360 per family.
Is that the same as last year?
It's a little bit higher just due to contractual issues. I think we don't have the exact number in front of me, but it is a little bit more. With that, I would like to make that motion.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to make a motion to adopt the duly advertised tax rate, which is ordinance 582, establishing the tax rate for general purposes, the sum of 8.9 mils on each dollar of assessed valuation.
Is that what we have? Is that what the paper says that the treasurer gave us?
Yes,
Yes.
8.9.
8.9.
She
We
and I
verified
just
that 3
talked.
times.
She and I just talked. And her last number was,
This should have been advertised in November.
yeah, but if we go lower, it's not a problem. It's a problem if we go higher, right? And we're currently at 7.99 mils.
Yes.
We're at 7.90. The budget increase was 1 full mil to bring it up to 8.90 mils.
All right, she and I talked and we were looking at 0.87 mils is what she and I talked about, but all right, that's fine. 1 mil.
The last correspondence that I had was,
You have a copy of it?
should have been circulated.
I don't have a copy of it.
You should have had it from last month. Everybody had a copy of it last month. for the ordinance number 582, and that was advertised
Is there any
last
clarification
month.
you guys want me to read off of it?
Okay, I have that now.
I would like it down to 7.9 plus 0.87, so 8 point. Call it 8.8. Can you change that to 8.8? No, I guess that's not gonna make a difference, is it? All right, 8.9 it is.
I
That's
think the
fine.
confusion may be is we talked about going to 8.85 at one of the finance meetings. And then the treasurer suggested one complete mill to 8.90. And that's what the ordinance states, and that's what the budget's predicated on.
Did someone second? Do we have
Second.
questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to make a motion to adopt the duly advertised 2023 budget as ratified as of today at 4:15. There was only a few minor adjustments that did not affect the overall
No, just
rates.
tiny changes.
A couple of them, yeah.
We had overestimated how much for crossing guards, and so there were two numbers that changed there.
As ratified. The budget that I had as a copy was from 11/15, so there were some minor changes.
Yeah, I spoke to the chief and he said that we had budgeted too much for the amount of hours that we needed crossing guards based on the new pay.
Anybody gonna second my motion?
Second.
Yes. Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I tried opposing it in the past and the train just keeps on rolling. So, I want to thank you, Madam President. I want to thank everybody on council for their diligence and hard work on getting this budget put together. There were a number of changes, both economically, financially, and as far as personnel. We're increasing our personnel. We're doing a few things like that. So I do want to thank everyone for their hard work in helping getting this across the finish line. I think every time that we've ever had to raise taxes, it's a painful decision, but it has always come with improved services. We had, our trash fee went up a little bit when we implemented recycling. We had a few other things, when leaf cleanup came, green waste recycling, things like that. They're all small increases, but it makes our borough a better place. And so I do want to applaud everybody. It is a very tight budget. It is a tight budget for everyone in Delaware County. And I just want to say thank you.
And the reality is by hiring 2 full-time police officers, which we really didn't have any choice, or by starting the process, we didn't have any choice because there weren't part-time officers jumping up for jobs. So that's like 10% of our budget increase,
Oh, absolutely.
more than that, because we're gonna give them benefits, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely. Moving on to the open space report, I'm going to report general progress. It would be nice to have a little bit of a winter go through as far as that goes. But we'll have to see how revenue comes in and things of that nature, just to make sure we're all moving in the right direction. With that, general progress.
The next item on our agenda is junior council reports. Do you guys have anything? You do, how wonderful.
On December 4th, we had the holiday party and the junior council. We got to help the kids make ornaments along with major food.
Louder.
Later in the day, we had the pleasure of lighting the tree in the Wesley Cole Veterans Memorial Park.
I just wanted to thank everyone who came out to the tree lighting ceremony, and thank you for the Reclamation Committee for throwing the holiday party.
Thank you very much, both of you. Appreciate you. And the next item is recreation report. Is anybody in a position to give that report? Ms. Percival? No? Okay.
I will say that the Christmas party was fantastic. I want to thank everybody that for everything that they did. A lot of people really worked hard, and it was great to see it through a 3-year-old's eyes. So thank you for that.
And for those of you who didn't make it to the tree lighting, we sang carols, which was lovely. I think it was a lot of fun. And the hot chocolate was beyond delicious. Okay, excuse me. We have police public safety report. That's Michael's. Does anyone have a report?
Mr. Powers does.
Yes, we met with Upland officials and come to an agreement to continue police coverage beginning January 1st to, I believe, March 31st. We can back out anytime that our police force is up and running to full capacity. The solicitor, I believe you saw the agreement.
Yes, it's the same we have with Brookhaven, it's fine.
Okay, we have to approve this agreement?
Yes, we should do that. We could
Okay.
add it to new business again as well.
Okay.
All right, so we would like to add the agreement with Upland to the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
So it's been added to the agenda.
Let's just take care of it now.
All right, let's take care of it now. Does somebody have it?
You want to make that motion?
We're just gonna
Make a motion that we accept the police agreement with Upland Borough.
Second.
Any questions?
All is equal except for just a small, that's a discounted rate.
Slightly lower, yes. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. The next item, are we ready to move off of police and public safety?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item is ordinance report, Mr. Sidlow.
Okay, I had hoped to have more to report tonight than I do. The ordinance committee met on the first Tuesday of the month, and I have come up with a list of fees and costs that we have in the borough and that other surrounding communities have expenses for. Again, I'm creating the and a price sheet that we can have annually, an annual cost for services, so that we can pass it yearly with the budget, just like we passed this, so that we have a way of regularly updating our costs and our fees and having structure and not just charging by a percentage of construction job, which doesn't necessarily reflect the amount of time it takes to complete inspections and things along those lines. So I've got a working draft. I created that draft on a day off from work. I have 2 more days off from work this coming up next week, and I hope to get further along. Hope to submit a draft to everyone in Parkside's government by the beginning of the year, so that we can all take a look at it and have discussion on that. Okay. So and then we'll have a meeting of the ordinance committee again on the first Tuesday of the month.
Will these fees and service amounts be comparable to our municipality size? We're not comparing us to Radnor, Media, Springfield. Are we comparing
think-
us to the same level as other municipalities our size?
I think the size of the borough is irrelevant. I think the amount of time and effort and labor that the task costs is the appropriate way to price a service, not by if we're a big community or a small community. That's not. it takes an hour to do a task, you charge borough residents for an hour's worth of work.
And does that cover your licenses and?
License and inspections, there were 2 building permits, there were 2 plumbing permits, there was 1 electrical permit, and 15 use and occupancy, and 1 reinspection.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Code enforcement?
Yes. There was 1 trash issue at Parkside Terrace with citation issued, trash violation on Burden Road, athletic equipment, a basketball court blocking the sidewalk on the unit block of West Shelton with a second warning. End of report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Powers, Public Works.
Thank you, Madam President. As I discussed earlier, and for citizens, the truck will be back tomorrow. We'll assess the leaves on the street, and whatever's on the street, they will be picked up. Keep in mind, we cannot collect any leaves that are wet, so we'll need some time to have the leaves dry out. All properties of the borough have been maintained for the month. Emergency management is general progress, health, general progress, fire marshal, general progress.
Thank you very much.
Madam President, I have a question for Rob. The a pothole on one of the borough streets. Who do we get to take care of that?
We have our own filler. We take care of it
Okay,
ourselves.
we'll talk after
Yes.
the meeting. We got something developing on West Shelton.
Yes.
That's.
As long as it's off Edgemont Avenue, we'll handle it.
Okay.
Yeah. If you just give me the unit block and we'll get somebody out there and fill it.
Perfect.
Okay, Ms. Percival, recycling.
Thank you. Regular trash was 109.23 ton. Recycling was 19.98. I'd like to remind everybody there's no recycling the week of Christmas. And also, the trash hauler has put out a schedule in which the recycling, if it's a holiday, we will not have recycling the week of a holiday. Such as New Year's Day, there'd be no recycling. 4th of July is unusual because the 4th of July would be a Tuesday. They would pick up our regular trash on a Wednesday. And Ms. Tamika has a copy of this and she can get it to Theo to be put on the website. So every holiday we come in contact with, there would be no recycling that Wednesday.
Ms. Percival, quick question. With that, knowing how New Year's is observed since it's on a weekend, does that mean no recycling in the next 2 weeks?
Their schedule is saying for New Year's Eve, which is a Sunday, they will not pick up recycling that week.
So they picked up today.
Yes.
They won't pick up next week.
They will not pick up Christmas week. And then we go into New Year's, so there'll be a 2-week, technically a 2-week delay.
Okay, so the next 2 weeks, there won't be recycling.
Then we'll go
I just
back into
wanted to
the-
kind of make sure we were clear on the first week of January.
Yeah, they'll be very busy
So-
when they do come up. Yes,
Back
thank
to
you.
what we used to have.
I'm sorry?
Back to what we used to have.
Exactly. And that's all I have.
Thank you. And Mr. Swiger, communications.
Just gonna report that the next meeting for the communications committee, won't take place until February, so I'll announce date and time at the January meeting. Other than that, I'll just report general progress.
Thank you. And you already read the tax collector's report. And you're on, Mr. Roden.
Thank you, Madam President. 2022 road program, beacon materials were received by the contractor, but installation is on hold until we get word from PennDOT regarding the use of liquid fuels funds. Signal permit and pedestrian study to remove the one crosswalk is approved. Highway occupancy permit for the concrete and related work was submitted on November 28th and is currently under review by PennDOT. Recommend payment to AF Damon for the paving portion of the road program in the amount of $49,087.55.
I'll make a motion to make that payment.
I'll second.
Any questions?
I continue to be against the road program, so I continue want to not fund it, so I'm going to vote against this.
All right, we'll get to that.
But I am in favor of a lighting program, so.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Got it?
As for grants, 2023 CDBG projects, which were selected in November, are as follows. The priority is the Business District Economic Development Plan and the alternative Edgemont Avenue Revitalization Plan. A resolution will be needed tonight for the CDBG applications.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 1848, which is a resolution of the Commonwealth, the Borough of Parkside, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, to go ahead and submit these projects by our engineer and through our engineer for those two priority projects.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Delco Greenways Grant application for the West Cole project was submitted on October 7th. Unfortunately, this project was not selected by the county for funding. DCNR Special Fall Round Grant. This grant was submitted on October 27th for upgrades to woodlot parking and installation of a rain garden. DCNR award announcement will be in January per Gene Lynch. ARPA Small Water and Sewer Grant application was submitted yesterday. I recommend passing a resolution tonight with the revised cost estimate as has been discussed with council. I will then email it to the grant administrator tomorrow.
Is that 586?
I have it as 586, but I don't know that that's a correct resolution number.
Okay, I will check the number.
Thank you. And I'll make a motion to pass and adopt PA Small Water and Sewer Grant application in the amount of,
Oops, sorry.
I'm sorry. go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say.
In the amount of $484,375.
Second.
Any questions?
I believe that was the number of the first one from November. This is revised, so I guess it wouldn't be the same one.
Yes.
That's my fault as well.
Is this, that's the wrong, is the 484 the right number?
That's the correct amount. I guess the resolution number itself.
Okay,
Oh, okay, yeah.
The resolution itself should be like a 19
right,
something.
okay.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My report, we had talked about doing a resolution to eliminate pay for council members, and I checked, the pay for council members here was actually set by ordinance back in 2001. It's section 28-1 of the local Parkside Code. So we can draft an ordinance and advertise it for the January meeting that would set the annual amount of compensation to zero. We do have to do that by ordinance. And of course, as we talked about last time, that would only go into effect for whoever's elected and once their term starts in January of 2024.
I would like to defer that until next year, towards the end of the year, to allow the new council members coming in on 2024 to make that decision if they want to proceed. Because we already have ordinance number 409-2021 on the books. So there's no rush. And if those members on council wish not to be paid, that's their choice.
So obviously whatever council wants, but the way the process works is it would be this council that would vote on it, and that would impact the people who are elected next year. So if it's the intent of this council to eliminate pay, they should do it, because otherwise it won't go into effect. I mean, obviously, if you want to let it wait, you can do that too, but then it wouldn't go into effect for 2 years beyond that. You can't, the council can't vote to eliminate its own pay. It can only vote to eliminate the pay of people in the future.
And I'm not sure personally if that's fair to a council coming in on 2024 for us to make that decision. And maybe that's something that we should all think about before we proceed with an advertisement and amend the ordinance.
It was voted. Everyone voted yes.
I did not vote
Except
for
you.
it. I've had the same feeling the last month about this. It should not be our decision. It should be individual decisions. If you choose not to get paid for your your job here, then you should inform the treasurer that you do not want to accept a paycheck.
This was Michael's proposal. I think we should allow him to speak when he is
I
here,
agree.
when he is with us.
And, you can always vote it down next meeting too.
Right. So,
I mean, at this time, we don't even have an ordinance to approve for advertisement or anything, correct?
no.
No, so it's just discussion at this point. So.
Right, just mentioning it because it was on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have come to the second call to citizens portion of our program. If you have something that is not agenda related.
I sent Perry an email, but I don't think you read it. So I brought the latest draft of our new resident packets. So I'm gonna pass them out. I have one for each of you, and then some for the audience if they wanted to look, so one here. I just asked that you give me your comments by the end of the year, so we can finalize. The only thing highlighted for revision right now is the constituent services offices for Fetterman and Carol Kazim, since they haven't been established yet. So included is also a voter registration form and the latest edition of the newsletter.
Could you tell me how much this would cost the borough to produce and how many would be needed?
So I don't know how many are needed because I don't know how many people move here. So that's one thing. We'll need like a report of new residents. So I've just been making these at home. So I don't know, but we can also put the PDF up on the website because it'll have clickable links.
So you don't have a cost factor at this point?
Tamika, you could print these in the office with our machine, right?
I'm sorry.
You could print these in our office with
I
the
could.
machine.
But I think the cost would be minimal for the benefit of personally welcoming a new resident to Parkside.
I appreciate all your work on that.
Absolutely.
I also didn't include any like menus for local businesses because I didn't want anyone to think that I was like favoring anybody or cause any dispute. But if you guys think that'd be a great idea, I know I would love to put a Phil and Jim's menu in there personally.
I think you did great. You really did. And I personally, if I was a new member of the community, I'd love to see menus and what everybody else is looking at.
Yeah, I know we talked about like coupons before, and that was like a lot of upkeep and back and forth with the businesses, keeping them up to date. I just thought that was a little bit too much work for anybody to juggle. And then, so I have one other comment in regards to the borough council pay. Maybe if you don't want to accept pay, you could invest that money back into the borough, like the woodlot could use new benches every now and then. I know I talked to a lot of people who would love to see more garbage cans on Edgemont Avenue because there's only a few and there's a lot of restaurants, so it generates a lot of litter. So I think that would be a good way to abstain from being paid, but also give it back to the community. And that's all.
Andrew Slowick, 142 East Rolling Road. Two simple questions. One is, what is a TAM note?
A tax anticipation note.
Yes.
Like if we're gonna run a little bit low because we really don't get any tax revenue in the beginning part of the year. So historically, we've needed to have a little bit of a cushion. And when interest rates were at like 2.5%, it was ridiculous not to borrow $100,000 just to smooth things. But we have a little bit more of a we have a little bit more cash on hand this year. And interest rates are almost punitive at this point in time. So it was at the advice of the treasurer to not proceed with getting a tax anticipation note.
How much do we have to do as this backup?
A couple $100,000.
Okay. We're going to get 1% increase in our taxes. How much money is that going to cost each one of us? With 1% more?
It's not 1%, it's 1 mil.
1 mil, excuse me. I correct.
It's going from 7.9 to 8.9.
In tax
So,
wise, how much is that going?
I mean, the
Out of
percentage,
our pocket.
it's a little over 10%.
If you're using the equation of $100,000 assessment on your home,
Okay.
that's approximately $100 to $105 a year. So that if your assessment's $150,000 and you can find that assessment on your prior bill, then you're
Correct.
looking at approximately $150 increase in your taxes.
That's $150 in real
Over.
estate, over and including, not including the trash fee.
That's correct.
So it's gonna cost us $1.50.
If your assessment's $150,000.
Okay, depending on the assessment. So if it's 100,000, it might be a little bit less. If it's 200,000, it's gonna be more. Okay. You know, there is a lot of fixed incomes in here. A lot of fixed incomes.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Quick question. I was doing some research and just wondering, on the delcopa.gov site, it has a list of upcoming funding deadlines for grants. Our engineer, do you keep an eye on that? Or is that something that maybe our council should be keeping an eye on for upcoming grants and money that's out there for different projects?
We do keep an eye on it, and also we get some advice from various members of council when to apply for a grant, but I think we've applied for 4 grants since early October.
Okay.
So, and we have the CDBG coming up.
The Green Light Go, did we do that one?
Yes, we didn't
We did.
qualify.
We didn't qualify. That's what you're mentioning. Okay. And then I did see that, like, if we have any upcoming projects or anything, that we can contact them and they would tell us, like, if we need money for something, that we can contact them and they could actually assist us with letting us know if something's coming up to help us with our projects. That is true.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And I think, we received a grant a year and a half ago to do, open space, evaluation, which would then lead to a plan that would lead to us being able to apply for future grants. But as I understand that, that still
This is
hasn't.
the one that's still snagged in
That's
the
correct.
county's hands.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And
It's still made it with the county.
Yeah,
And as soon as it moves out of the county, we'll be notified and then we can proceed. And we also have the West Pole Memorial Grant that I'm hoping as soon as the weather breaks next year, that we can start processing that because they've extended the deadline, but we don't want to miss that deadline a
Right.
second time.
it was extended until next Halloween
Yes.
at this point.
All right.
Lisa Castorell again, 252 East Avon. Just 2 things. One, I wanted to ask, since someone mentioned, I think Cal mentioned like the donating possible money toward, like, say the woodlot or whatever. But speaking of woodlot, has that broken bench, I haven't checked that in a while. Has that broken bench been repaired yet?
There was one that was repaired, and then I think there was another one.
Another that was,
actually-
okay,
Yeah.
great. No, that's wonderful. Thank you. And just wanted to thank everybody, all residents who over the course of last year donated to the food drive every month. We have some residents that I won't name, but who are great and donate every single time, which I really appreciate. But then we have some people who donate when they can, and which is lovely. And all of the beneficiaries, Media Food Bank, Chester East Side Ministries, the Real Church in Brookhaven, and also the food pantry at Faith Community Church. Those have all been the recipients this year, kind of on a rotating basis. So thank you all for donating to help people, and have a happy New Year.
All right. We don't have any old business, new
I have
business.
2 quick ones.
You do. They're not on the agenda.
I'm just bringing up that they delivered the new banner, so we'll get that put up.
Cool.
As far as that goes, I don't need an agenda item for that one. And then a quick question for Public Works. Are we gonna do Christmas trees this
Yes.
year? Okay, all right. So as long as there's no tinsel and things like that, Public Works will pick them up. They put them down at the wood lot, and then we recycle them, once we're done picking them up, so.
Yeah, and there's no time frame for that. Once it's out to the curb, we pick them up automatically.
Until January 31st, or just whenever you see them.
We pick them up. If someone puts them at the curb, we come by and pick them up. So however, Okay.
And that was something going back to the pay thing or whatever. Years ago, I used to just put them in my white pickup truck and, load them off at my house and ship them up with a work truck. And then I realized that we actually get green waste recycling points, more or less, which helps out the borough better than doing the work for free. So it really does. So, but that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Under new business, we have donation for Brookhaven Baseball League.
I'd like to make a motion that we donate to the Brookhaven, it's basketball.
Basketball?
It's basketball.
Oh, it says baseball.
In the amount of $200.
Second.
Any questions?
Both of my kids played Brookhaven basketball. I was a coach there. I definitely think we should support them.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. And now for the reorg.
Okay, Mr. Musso, can you advise us on, before we get into this reorganization meeting, can we clear council chambers and have a brief meeting amongst council members?
Executive.
Sure, about what?
Just be an executive session.
Yeah, executive session.
I mean, just,
Council recess to the meeting across the hall, be easier than try to clear the room.
there's a limited number of subjects for an executive session. I mean, reorg wouldn't
Well, the subject will be the reorganization.
be about the reorganization. I mean, that's not really a subject for executive session.
I would like to make a motion to reorganize. We've already done that. If I can get a second, and we'll proceed with the reorganization. And I will take note that I had asked for this at the beginning of the meeting, as we had done when Mrs. Guy had been appointed. So I would like to make a motion to proceed with the reorganization of council.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Well, let's comment.
Yeah, questions, comments?
Yeah, so it's completely unnecessary to reorganize the council. Okay, it's gonna throw the entire work that we've been doing into complete chaos. And 1 month from now, when Michael is here, we're just gonna reorganize again.
You don't know that.
And it's just gonna
You
be,
don't know that.
Well, I didn't, reason I wanted to have this discussion behind closed doors, because there's a lot of personal information out there. And so would be told. I met with Michael 3 times last week. Michael told me that Anna was going to resign at this meeting. Michael told me he was firing our solicitor tonight at the meeting. Michael asked me to be the vice president, which I declined. Michael asked me for Shirley to be the vice president. He had the votes to make her vice president, but not president. And I can collaborate this story with Perry, because Perry was involved the entire time. I have text messages from Michael. At the same time, Michael spent Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Shirley's house, going over everything he wanted to take care of. So this is no surprise to Michael. It may be a surprise to some of you people. Michael met with another solicitor outside of this borough hall. Michael had a Zoom meeting with another solicitor. Michael had breakfast with another solicitor. So where's all this going? So this shouldn't be a surprise, because I know about it, Shirley knows about it. You may not know about it. Anna, were you going to?
You might have been any more appropriate than for him to.
Excuse me.
Okay,
Excuse me.
All right, wait a minute. Sorry. Michael may have changed his mind since then. Do you think that's possible, Perry?
We don't
I'm
know.
not gonna comment on
We
somebody
don't
else's
know, and we
comment.
should
That's
not
fine, so
comment.
you,
Well,
And there is a motion on the floor to reorganize.
It would be
Whether
nice if
it's
you were
changed
here.
next month or not, there's a motion on the floor to reorganize.
motion to table until Michael is, till we have a full
No,
council.
you have a
second it.
motion on the floor to
Are you-
reorganize.
you second tabling it?
No,
Okay.
I second.
Just
that we
sorry.
reorganize.
Right, when there's a motion to table, you immediately vote on the motion to table.
I second the motion.
So we have a motion to vote on the motion to table. If that doesn't pass, then yes, we'll go to reorganization. So this is, I guess,
Roll call
yeah,
vote?
roll call on the motion to table.
Motion to table. Motion to table. Okay. Mr. Sidlow?
Aye.
Mr. Powers?
No.
Mr. Bull?
No.
Mr. Swiger?
Yes.
Ms. Percival?
Motion to table is no.
And Madam President,
Yes.
do we have a tie?
Mayor?
No.
Okay. Motion to
you.
table did not pass.
Thank you.
I still have a motion on the floor to reorganize.
This is gonna create complete chaos. This is not,
Well,
this is
would
not,
be
this
the
is
third
not.
time in 1 year then, and we went through the chaos initially. We've gone through the chaos twice, and let's see how it progresses as we get through the next reorganization. And I don't feel that it will be chaos. I think we will have more communication and more transparency and more deadlines met.
I don't think we have an issue of any of those things at this point in our borough council. I mean,
We
just look,
passed-
Mrs. Percival, just because you guys send an email and don't get a response immediately, like,
2 days, 2 years, 2 weeks.
okay, I mean, like, other people on this council have jobs and have work and have other things to do, and like, you send a lot of emails, so like, not everything gets responded to, but everything is getting done, all the work is getting completed, okay? We're not.
Scott, let me interrupt you.
No, I'd like to finish. We're not using the power of the government to put people down or make council members bad. We're just trying to govern, and there's no reason to reorganize.
There's a letter from September of 2022, subject, and this came from the Brookhaven Basketball League team sponsorship. We are now donating $200 to them, and this was from September. We have
Okay, so why
a
is it?
municipality who is no longer doing business with us because checks have not proceeded to go on in a timely manner.
Well, as Mr. Bull,
That's actually a bunch of baloney.
as Mr. Bull said, that was completely inappropriate for Brookhaven to say that we were, that it was, Brookhaven was not accurate in requesting the money so quickly. There was no problem there. You're manufacturing crises that don't exist.
If I may,
Everybody has their own opinion, Mr. Sidwell.
if I may,
Time to reorganize.
I was actually notified by Michael weeks before any of this happened, saying that there was gonna be a reorganization meeting tonight. That he was gonna be president and he wanted to know why I wanted to remain or if I deserved to be vice president. He was under the impression that I was not timely enough with my emails and responses as far as that goes. This goes back weeks. I don't know, I have no idea what anybody else's conversations were. But I was under the impression that this was,
Well, why was,
either Michael was gonna be president tonight or and Mrs. Percival was gonna be the president. Somebody even discussed that I was gonna be president. But at this point in time, I was like, it seems odd.
why was this not on the agenda prior to this meeting?
I don't do the agendas and that wasn't my
Well,
goal.
any one of the seven of us can request an item be on the agenda. Why was this not placed on the agenda prior
Was
to
the
the
one in
meeting?
April, can I just ask that, was the one in
It
April
was
on the
not.
agenda?
It was not.
So
The
what's
one in
this?
April was my resignation at the time, which was my decision that was made shortly before the meeting, after debating long and hard on it. That's why it was done at the beginning of the meeting, because I did it during my president's report.
So the resignation triggered the reorganization, whereas in this case,
Is
we don't
how,
have,
is how I view what happened in April. And that was my personal decision.
Did anybody else know you were resigning?
No,
and we did not have a resignation in this case.
Well, I think we need,
I
we need to move forward.
According to the state code, which we are under, we may reorganize at any time.
So anytime a council member isn't here, you just,
It has nothing to do with it
we
because
never did that when you guys had the majority. Never.
this is not
There goes a
political.
party.
It is not
Okay,
political.
no, just,
This is lack of communication.
This is very
Mrs.
much
Guy, you
political.
spent 4 months in a row using social media platforms as your president's report. Enough. Council and many of us feel that it's time to do a reorganization.
You didn't use social media as a platform when you were council president? I mean, I can name how many nasty emails,
All right,
Facebook.
Can we move on?
No, I can't move on.
Let's just peel the Band-Aid off. Let's go.
Thank you.
Rip it off. Let's go.
We have a motion on the floor to reorganize. Mr. Powers did a second. I believe next, Mr. Remuso.
We already had the roll call vote, didn't we? No.
Yeah, we just do a roll call for the
We need a roll
reorganization.
Yeah,
call
just
vote
copy
for
it down
reorganization.
again. Same thing. But we can get out of here at 8:30 if we hurry up.
Madam President?
There's no reason to hurry. Let's manage the borough's business effectively.
Madam President?
What, should we reorganize? No.
Mr. Sidlow?
No.
Mr. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Bull?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Percival?
Yes.
And Mr. Schweigert?
No.
Mayor,
Yes.
Why are you calling for the mayor's vote?
because she has to break the tie.
Because she's already read.
There's a tie
So
vote. The
it
mayor
passed.
breaks the
Right, but-
tie.
Okay.
So,
Mayor, would you please take over?
Okay. We're gonna make nominations for the president.
I nominate Anna Guy for council president.
Who, I'm sorry.
Anna Guy.
Nominate Shirley Percival as president.
Wait, doesn't the vacancy chair have the tie-breaking vote in this?
No. No, this is not a
this
resignation.
isn't a
This is a
vacancy.
reorganization.
It's not a vacancy.
Okay. And so for president,
Do we have discussion?
No, it's a
no,
nomination.
it's a nomination now. So, Anna Guy, yes or no for Anna Guy?
We don't have discussion here.
You can have discussion and, I mean, I would just say call a roll call and whoever you're voting for, just vote for that
Yeah.
person.
Okay, roll call. Anna Guy?
I vote for Danica.
Mr. Sidlow?
Anna Guy.
Mr. Swaggart?
Anna.
Mr. Powers?
Shirley Percival.
Mr. Bull?
Shirley.
Mrs. Percival?
Yes, Shirley, myself.
Okay? Since I'm the tiebreaker, I'm voting for Anna Guy. I'm only kidding. I'm voting for
Well,
Shirley
no, that's
Percival.
on the record.
Sorry, that didn't come out right. I didn't say her name.
I mean,
Shirley
that's on
That
the-
is so professional.
That is on the record. That was a
That's
vote.
okay, it did not come out
That
right.
was a
I
vote.
looked at
Hold
the
on.
name. I'm voting for Shirley Percival.
That was a vote.
No, it wasn't. It's Shirley Percival as president.
Moving on to vice president.
Okay, vice president.
I'll nominate Doug Bull for vice president.
I nominate Anna Guy.
Okay, Mrs. Guy,
Danica.
Mr. Sidlow,
Anna.
Mr. Swaggart,
Anna.
Mr. Powers,
Doug.
Mr. Bull,
I'd accept the nomination.
Mrs. Percival.
Mr. Bull.
And I choose Mr. Bull. So, president will be Shirley Percival. Vice president will be Doug Bull for vice president. Motion will carry.
Thank you. If council wishes, we can go through committees real quick. If not, I can get an email out to everybody after or around the new year. If it's appropriate, I'd like to just go ahead and do that real quick and then have Mrs. Stamus, I'll get with you and we'll put it up and actually type it through. Public Safety Chair will be Rob Powers, Doug, and Michael. Ordinances will be Scott, Rob, and Anna. Public Works, Rob, Doug, and Michael. Finance, Doug, Michael, and Rob. License Inspections will be Perry, Doug, and Rob. MS4 and Recycling will be Anna, Scott, and Michael. Recreation will be co-chairs with Michael and the mayor and Rob. Open Space will be Doug, Scott, and Anna. Communications, Perry, Doug, and Michael. Junior Council Member Liaison will stay as Michael. Webmaster will stay as Theo and myself. Chairman Pro Temp will be Perry. Borough Secretary, Mrs. Stamus. Borough Treasurer will be Brinker Simpson. Borough Engineer, Catania Engineering. Solicitor will be John J. Wills. And I'd like to personally thank Mr. Musso and Samantha for me, please, for your services this year.
Proud to work for the borough. Certainly, transition of Mr. Wilson was seamless to him as it was to me.
I'm sure he'd appreciate that. Health Officer, Inspector, Dr. Kroll and Rob Powers. Building Inspector, Joe Ferguson. Plumbing Mechanical will be Harry Kent. Floodplain will be Joe Ferguson. Electric, Jim Skolsky. Chief Code BCO will be Joe Ferguson. Code Enforcement and Safety Rental, Nick Capobianco. Our Emergency Management Coordinator will be Rob Powers. Zoning Officer will be Joseph Ferguson. Our Roadmaster will be Ryan Cornog. Auditor will stay the same as Letzel. Insurance Broker will stay the same as AJ Gallagher. Civil Service Commissioner will be Robert E. O'Connor. Our Zoning Board Solicitor will be Robert E. O'Connor. Our Fire Marshal will be Rob Powers. Computer IT will be Steve Giacristoforo. Our Payroll Services will be Crime Pay. Deputy Tax Collector will be Tamika. And our Vacancy Chair will be Nicole Boyers. Our Tax Collector is an elected official and that will stay the same as Ed Fisher. And I will ask that I will meet with Ms. Tamika and we'll get this all in writing and get it to everybody.
So that's not official until it's voted on.
No, the chair appoints the committees.
As what I did last January.
As what Perry did and what.
And then we voted on it.
No,
It was
we
not,
don't vote on
it
it.
was
It's an
not voted on.
appointment by the chair.
So the chair picks the solicitor and all that stuff?
Yes.
So that's typically not something that all of council does together, like everyone kept arguing that you had nothing to do with picking the solicitor.
Well, I think that's
Just
a
for the
little bit
record.
different when you bring in an entirely new firm and you did all the meetings and didn't invite any of the Republicans or the minority group to come in.
That wouldn't be typical. That wouldn't be
You're
typical.
doing the exact same thing.
All right. So
I would
can I
entertain-
close the meeting or would you
Please,
like
no,
to?
please.
I
I'm done.
can send it to you. All right, meeting is adjourned.
No.
No, why? What?
Because we didn't do
We
one
did the
agreement. We've got one
agreement.
more business here.
All right, come
No,
on.
we did the agreement during.
What was that?
The agreement with Upland Borough, the police.
We did that, didn't we do that, right?
We did it.
Right,
We
right,
we approved it
Doesn't
during the
have to be
public
read.
safety.
Doesn't have to be read. No.
No, we approved it.
Okay. That's fine.
And I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and an upcoming joyous Kwanzaa. Thank you.
Did I get a motion? Did I approve it? Motion to adjourn, seconded. See you next year.
I think we're all tired.
So,
I think he'll do just fine.